Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel, Simsen Talk. Guys, I'm so excited. I just want to introduce to you Latoya.
Hi there.
What did I say before? I want my channel, I know you'd love to just hear from me.
Stop it. Get some help.
I want my channel to be a platform for others, okay? So we've had a parent who spoke about her child's diagnosis with Kabuki syndrome. We've had an adult talking about his experience with Down syndrome and being autistic. And now we've got the wonderful Latoya, who is a learning support assistant in a special needs school. So, Latoya, are you ready for the interview?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, let's go.
But before we continue, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe.
So Latoya, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, good afternoon. My name is Latoya and I work at a special needs school with children from 2 to 11 years with complex and other additional needs.
Can you tell us a little bit more about that role?
Okay, so my role as a LSA, which stands for Learning Support Assistant, is to support the children that I have in my school that have learning disabilities using different equipment and strategies such as Makaton, object of reference and communication folders. I take them also on trips with the teacher and the other LSAs in my class in the local community. I interact in different activities with them using props based on different themes. So if we're doing a theme about Easter, then we'll make Easter bunnies and then we pull it on the wall. I help also to develop their physical, social and communication needs. I give medication to the children with another staff member there. I help to develop their health and self-skill needs. So when they're eating during lunchtime, we try to encourage them to use the cutlery by themselves. And this allows them to become as independent as possible.
Latoya, thank you for that.
That's okay.
So how do you support the children in the classroom?
I support the children with the other LSAs in my classroom by doing observation and passing them on to the teacher. So depending on what day the teacher may say to me, to observe a certain child, and then I write it down and then I give to the teacher at the end of the day. So if there's anything the child is doing in the classroom that they haven't done before, then I'll always let the teacher know. And then we move on from there. So we have planning and we have steps for each individual child because every child learns differently.
Yeah.
And then sometimes it's either written down or I tell the teacher verbally. And we also support the children by using Makaton, object of reference and communication folders.
Fantastic. And you're going to show us some of these resources, aren't you?
Yes, later on, yeah.
Thank you. How many children do you have in your classroom?
I have 6 children in my class.
So it's mixed abilities?
Most of them are PMLD in my class, but even though some of them are verbal, most of them are in wheelchairs, so it's mainly more PMLD in our classes. PMLD is profound multiple learning disabilities, whereby the child needs, that constant support, so help with eating, help with changing, help with activities. So you're always, even though it's not really one-to-one, because we have more than one child in the class that needs that support. So again, it's just, doing one-to-one with the child and supporting the child as much as possible.
Talking about communication.
Yes.
So could you give us some examples of what communication you might use?
Okay, so Makaton is one communication strategy that we use in the class, which is a sign and symbol program that helps the child or the young person to communicate, but you must always speak whilst you're signing, but it's only the specific words. So in my class, actually in my school, we use for the children, these are some of the signs that we use for the children. So one is more, so that's more, so to request we go more. So it's just a fist and then hand, and then we just go more. For friends, it's just 2 hands you put together and you just go friends. So friends. Another one is weather. So when we're doing a song about the weather, we just go weather. So we just hands back and we just go weather. And then another one is home. So when it's now home time, it's just a cupped hand and you just go home. I mean, you can go home as well, but home, that's what I know to use for Makaton is home. So they're the 4 symbols. We use more, but they're the 4 basics that I'm just going to show that we use in the school that I'm at. So Makaton can also help with listening to instructions, remembering things, and it also reduces meltdowns as the individual is allowed to communicate their needs. We don't only know what they're saying, but they know what we're saying back to them as well. So another form of communication is called object of reference. So object of reference are objects which represent either an activity, a person, or an event. These objects help a child or young person who may have difficulty understanding, but the more they use it, the easier it will be. So here's an example. So at school, for example, or anywhere, if you want to say to the child that you want to read them a story or that it's story time, I've got the visual here, and then underneath I've actually got the book to show from the visual that it's time for a story. You can use any objects. So you can use a plate, and you can show the plate to the child to say, all right, now it's lunchtime. Outside, you could show them shoes to say, all right, now we put on our shoes and now it's time to go to the playground. So that also says to the child, okay, then so once we put on our shoes, then we go to the playground. So the more that we use these objects, the more the child will become more aware and the child will have more understanding. So when you show them the object, they'll think, all right, then now it's playtime or now it's time to eat. But at my school, some of the children who have very complex communication needs, who don't fully understand, they just use objects throughout the whole day, and sometimes they'll stick the object onto a piece of paper like this, and they'll just have Velcro at the back. So we Velcro at the back and they just stick it. And then sometimes we'll take them off and then we'll show the child. So we'll have like fork, or we'll have a nappy. We'll actually show them the nappy to say, all right, now it's time to go to the toilet. Or you actually have toilet paper and say, all right, toilet. And then we'll help to guide the child to where they need to be. So these are some basic visuals that are similar to what I use at my school. So we have choose. So if the child can't choose what they need and can't say it verbally, we usually show to say choose what you want. So choose if you want a drink or if you want an apple, so we can just say choose. Or it could be a toy. Climb and finish, so that the child knows that climbing has finished. Home time, to let the child know that it's home time, so parents will be coming for them or they'll be going on the bus shortly. Hands on lap, to show them that when we're doing activities, our hands must be on the lap and we must start listening. And iPad, so it's just visuals that we show the child, and then from here they will tell us if they want it or if they don't, but visuals are usually what help them to communicate.
It's really good. There's so much there.
Thank you.
So, I mean, you've been working there for how long?
About a year now.
1 year?
Yeah.
Okay, so how have the resources helped the children?
The resources have helped a lot, and repetition is very important, especially with the kind of children at the school that I'm at. With these type of communication, it's very key, and it's used a lot in the classroom. So Makaton and object of reference have really developed the children's skills. They're given more eye contact now. They will try and reach for an object of their choice if we're doing an activity. So even though they can just use their eyes, they may just use maybe their arm just to, try and guide to say, all right, then this is what I want or this is what I choose. Some of the children have tried to sign back to me when I use Makaton, which helps the communication skills. Visuals I use especially for the children, especially the ones who are non-verbal. They weren't given eye contact before, they're starting to do now. And lastly, we use a communication folder, which helps a lot of the children who have limited or no speech at all. The children will point to the symbols from the folder, so they may point to yogurt. Some of them may even say yogurt, or they'll say pizza. And to try and extend their vocabulary more, we'll try to get them to say I want, but even if they don't say I want, just pointing, that's a step. So that's what we use. So we use Makaton, object of reference, and communication folders. And that's how I believe that these resources have helped them.
Question. What does inclusion look like to you?
Inclusion to me means the child or the young person being more involved in educational activities, or it means, so for example, the child interacting with other children. Even though the other children may not have needs like that child, the very fact that they're involved with the other children and interacting shows that it's being made to be inclusive. Getting them to go out in the local community, so taking them to the shops, helping them to become more independent with their shopping, maybe giving out flyers. So if there's anything that you're doing, within the school or anywhere, just giving out flyers to other parents or to other people in the community, and getting them to also interact as well, the ones who can speak or even the ones who are in chairs. Just the fact that they're there as well shows that they're getting involved. If there's any plays that you're doing at school, you know, where parents are involved, you know, especially in mainstream schools as well, you know, getting the children who have needs to also interact in the plays as well. So that's what I believe inclusion to me looks like, having the child become more involved with other children who may not look like them. And it also helps them to understand as well the children of other parents who don't know about disabilities. It also gives them an awareness as well.
Fantastic. Sorry, I lied. One more. What reward, what do you get out of, you know, working with children with disabilities?
I just believe, you know, that it's just a God-given gift that God has given me. You know, I've always had that passion. I find it rewarding, you know, to see children smiling. And, you know, even if it's just one word that they say as well, you know, it doesn't have to be a big thing. One word, even giving eye contact, you know, because one child at my school, you know, she never used to give eye contact, but now sometimes when I look at her, when I try to engage with her, she's looking up at me now in my face. So I just think, wow, you know, she's actually looking at me. So, you know, that's one step. So it's just little bits. It may not be a big thing, but even just one word or giving, you know, eye contact, you know, that to me shows, you know, all right, then that they're, you know, going forward, you know, that's a step, you know, and then gradually you can work on it and see how far, you know, not too far, but see how far the child can go. But I just find it rewarding, you know, and I believe, you know, God has, you know, put me in this job for a purpose, because I love what I do. I'm very passionate and I love to see the children grow as well. So
Latoya, thank you so much.
That's fine.
Do you know what? So I met Latoya, is it 2 years ago maybe?
Yes, I believe. 2 years,
So my son doesn't go to a special needs school. He goes to a mainstream school. But myself and Latoya, we go to the same church. And maybe it's 2 years plus, I'm not sure. But Latoya is part of the SEND ministry team at our church. And you're in my son's class there, and he absolutely loves her. As you can see, she's got this big smile, this warm personality, and you know, just to say, you know, as a parent, thank you so much for all the work you're doing.
Thank you.
And the rest of the ministry team. I'll be in touch soon to interview you. But no, seriously, he's happy to come in. There's all sort of sensory things going on there. There's music. There's, I think what I love is how you tap into all aspects of that that young person's needs. And he comes out smiling. And that's what's important, because, you know, we are very fortunate with the ministry that we have, because a lot of churches and other places of worship, let alone other settings, don't have what we have. So thank you so much. That was a wonderful interview. I hope parents or family member, whoever's watching this channel, I hope that's encouraged you and also given you a deeper outlook on what's going on within a special needs school. Okay, so just to say thank you.
That's okay.
And as I always end the video, you know, this is not a sprint, it's a marathon, and we're in this together. Thank you. Okay. Bye-bye.
Take care. Yeah. You did it. You did it.
You did it.
Oh gosh. Yes. Oh, God.